Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. So in one of our previous videos, we discussed IFSCA Grade A Phase 1 Paper 2 2024 paper. So just like that, we are going to cover 2023 paper also as a part of this video, where we are going to see that what type of questions were asked, what was the difficulty level, and of course we are going to see the answers and explanations with respect to those questions. My suggestion is that if you're watching this video, please pause whenever I'm reading any question, and you can pause the video, and once you're done with that, then you can give your version of answer, and after that you can resume the video and you can see that whether your answer was correct or not, right? So this is going to be very effective for you. So let us begin and firstly we are going to start with, I would say, finance section. Then we will see management, costing, commerce and accounts, all such sort of things one by one, right? So without wasting any time, let us begin with the session. But before we do that, just a small announcement. So basically, we know that previous year papers play a very important role if you are preparing for any competitive exam, including IFSCA Grade A. So what you can do, you can go to the description box, click over the link, and from there you can download these previous year papers, right? And they will help you to optimize your preparation. Now coming back to these PYQs, and let us firstly begin with finance section. And let us see question number 1. So which government agency is responsible for overseeing and regulating limited liability partnerships? So if we talk about this limited liability partnerships, basically we know that they are regulated under Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. We already know that, right? Now apart from that, basically the question is asking that it is overseen and regulated by which of the following. So basically, since they come under Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008, they are regulated by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now moving on to question number 2. Which financial institution or organization is responsible for safeguarding and managing a country's exchange reserves? So the keyword is safeguarding the exchange reserves and managing the country's foreign exchange reserves. So this question is very easy, and the correct answer to this question is going to be the A option, which is RBI. We know that RBI plays this very important role where it manages India's foreign exchange reserves. Now moving on to question number 3. Which sector in India primarily receives loan refinancing from NABARD? Now this question has been asked from Banking Financial Institutions chapter. So option A, private sector in India. Option B, public sector in India. Option C, urban India. Option D, rural sector in India. And option E, forest sector in India. So we know that if you talk about NABARD primarily deals with rural and agricultural development sector, right? So the primary function with respect to NABARD is that it takes care with respect to these sectors. And when we talk about the loan refinancing facility, so yes, the most appropriate answer is going to be the rural sector in India, right? So D is going to be the correct answer in context to NABARD. Now question number 4. Which regulatory body issues guidelines for the issuance of commercial papers? So which regulatory body issues guidelines for the issuance of commercial papers? So option A, SEBI, B, PFRDA, C, IRDAI, D, Reserve Bank of India, and E, NABARD. So if you talk about question number 4, so basically we know that if you talk about the issuance of commercial papers, right? So commercial papers, we know that if you talk about commercial papers, we know that they are short-term debt instruments, right? Debt instruments. One of the very important, I would say, money market instruments that are there, and they're issued by whom? They are issued by RBI. So D is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now moving on to question number 5. As per the Income Tax Act of 1961, who is considered the head of the Hindu undivided family? Right? So Income Tax Act 1961, who is considered as the head of the Hindu undivided family? So this is a very factual question. So the answer is Karta. Basically, Karta is basically considered as in the Hindu undivided family. Karta is basically, it can be either, I would say, eldest male member, or it can be the eldest female member also, who is managing the family's affairs, right? And this entity is known as what? It is known as Karta, right? So B is going to be the correct answer. So please remember, it can be eldest male also and eldest female also. Now question number 6. What is the methodology used to calculate the Sensex and Nifty indices? So the question from capital market, right? So let us see the option. So the options are mixed float market capitalization, free free fixed float market capitalization, fixed float market capitalization, free float market capitalization, right? And the E option is none of the above. So if we talk about this one, the correct answer is going to be the D option. So it is basically free float market capitalization method, right? Which considers only the shares available for public trading, excluding promoters holding, right? So D is going to be the correct answer. So बाकी जो आपको दिए थे वो confuse करने के लिए दिए हुए थे. Now question number 7. Minimum paid up capital required to be held by the government in a company to make such a company a government company. So let me reread it. Minimum paid up capital required to be held by the government in a company to make such a company a government company. So what is that minimum paid up capital? So yes, it is nothing but it is 51%, right? And if you have read Companies Act, so it is also mentioned in, if I'm able to recall correctly, it is also mentioned in section 2 subsection 45, right? So over there it is also mentioned. So the government needs to have at least 51% of the equity, right, in order to make such a company a government company. Now question number 8. Now we are done with the finance part. So I would say कि जो 2023 का जो फाइनेंस का पोर्शन था वो 2024 से मुझे थोड़ा ज्यादा हाई लेवल का लगा. 2024 का भी आप अगर पेपर देखोगे दैट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड, तो 2024 के पेपर में बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन थे वो ज्यादा डूएबल थे. यहाँ पर थोड़े आपको फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन ज्यादा मिल जाएंगे, ठीक है. सो यू कैन कंपेयर इट, बट द पॉइंट इज दैट दिस वाज अ गुड क्वेश्चन, ठीक, गुड क्वेश्चन पेपर. नाउ लेट अस मूव ऑन टू द मैनेजमेंट पार्ट. तो फाइनेंस आप देख चुके हैं, तो मैनेजमेंट देखते हैं. Which of the following plans is intended to achieve over a long period of time? So strategic planning, tactical planning, policy planning, operating planning and corporate planning. So yes, the correct answer is going to be what? It is going to be strategic planning. We know that it is a long-term planning process that focusing on defining and achieving different type of organizational goals, right? So A is going to be the correct answer to this question. Question number 9th. Which leadership style involves seeking input from employees in the decision making process? So yes, as you can see that the employees are getting involved as a part of this decision making. So yes, it itself says that basically this whole process is democratic in nature. So that is why the answer is also going to be democratic leadership, right? So a very easy question, you could have solved it, and I know that when you pause the video you were able to reach the answer. So question number 9th, the answer is going to be what? It is going to be the B option. Now question number 10th. The authority of a manager which is derived from his position in an organization is known as dash. So formal position. So let me reread the question first. The authority of a manager which is derived from his position in an organization. So the context is basically in position. So whatever position he is holding in that organization, through that he is deriving that authority, right? So what it is going to be, what type of position it is going to be? The formal position, the informal position, the derived position, grapevine position, or none of the above. So basically the correct answer to this question is going to be, of course, the formal position, right, which refers to managers, I would say official roles and responsibility within an organization. So yet yes, A is going to be the answer, right? So and it is basically, we know that it is defined by organizational, I would say, hierarchy and his job description that is there, and based on that only it is basically deriving that authority. So formal position is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 11th. In which role does the manager lead and guide? In which role does the manager lead and guide, right? So supervisor, leader, communicator, motivator और conflict resolver. तो ये तो नाम से पता चल रहा है, ठीक है, बहुत ही I would say straightforward question है. तो yes, manager's role is leader, right? When the role of the manager is of a leader, then he basically provides guidance and direction to the team member, and they do so by setting goals, by setting different type of strategy, and apart from that, very importantly, they provide what? They provide the feedback also, right? So all this is included as a part of the manager role when he is serving as a leader. Question number 12. Manager makes employees work by force which may lead to punishment or non-compliance under which power, right? So it is asking about punishment and the non-compliance also. Then the options are coercive power, B rewarding power, C static power, D expert power, and E what? E is legal power, right? So the correct answer to this question is going to be coercive power. तो coercive का मतलब ही ये होता है, अगर आप सारे ऑप्शन देख लोगे, coercive का मतलब होता है कुछ ना कुछ हमने forcefully किया है. Coercion का क्या मतलब होता है? Coercion means to apply force, something that has been done forcefully, right? तो यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हो कि punishment मिल रही है. for the non-compliance, right? So that's what we are doing. So he is adopting coercive method, and that is why it is going to be what? It is going to be coercive power. तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर किसी को मैनेजमेंट ना भी आती हो ज्यादा, तो कुछ क्वेश्चन तो ऐसे थे जो आप कॉमन सेंस से भी कर सकते थे सॉल्व, राइट? जैसे ये लीडर वाला क्वेश्चन हो गया, कोर्सिव मेथड वाला हो गया, फॉर्मल पोजीशन वाला हो गया, डेमोक्रेटिक लीडरशिप वाला हो गया. कुछ क्वेश्चन तो ऐसे जो डायरेक्टली हमें पता चल रहा है कि यार इसका आंसर तो यही होना चाहिए, बाकी कोई और मुझे लग नहीं रहा. ठीक है, तो यहां पर आप देख लो यार, ऑटोक्रेटिक तो हो नहीं सकता, डेलीगेटिव हो नहीं सकता, इसका मतलब होता है डेलीगेट पावर ट्रांसफर करना. तो डेमोक्रेटिक ही जो है वो सबसे सेंसिबल सोल्यूशन बनता है. तो आई वुड से मैनेजमेंट का लेवल ज्यादा हाई नहीं था इफ यू टॉक अबाउट 2023, राइट? द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, data that is valuable for facilitating decision making is known as what? So the key word is decision making. So what type of data is valuable for facilitating decision making? So yes, of course, option A is final data, option B is useful data, option C is system, D is information, and E is catalyst. So yes, the correct answer is going to be what? It is going to be the information, right? Because information, it is a type of data that has been processed, right? And then it is then what? Once it is processed, after that it is interpreted, and once it is interpreted, it basically gives the meaning to the data, right? And it facilitates the decision making. Now question number 14th, the process of recruiting and onboarding suitable candidates for the organization. So what is that process? So recruiting and onboarding. Again एक और easy question आ गया हमारे पास. So regarding this, the option A is recruitment, option B is selection, option C is passiveness, D orientation, and E none of the above. So yes, the correct answer is going to be what? It is going to be selection, right? So that is going to be the answer. Now question number 15, what function of a manager is where he identifies the problem and then takes decision? So what function of manager is where what he does? Firstly, he identifies the problem, and based on that what he does, he basically takes the decision, right? So what it is going to be, so you can see once you are identifying the problem, so it is something a kind of diagnosis tool, right? So it is going to be what? It is something a diagnostic analysis, right? And based on that you are taking the decision. So yes, A is going to be the correct answer to this question. तो मैं शायद ओवर सिंप्लीफाई भी कर रहा हूँ चीजों को, बट मुझे लगता है कि यार किसी को अगर थोड़ी बहुत भी मैनेजमेंट आती है तो मैक्सिमम क्वेश्चन जो थे मैनेजमेंट से सॉल्व हो सकते थे. फाइनेंस में थोड़ा सा था ऐसा फैक्टर कि पढ़ना पड़ेगा, लेकिन मैनेजमेंट में ठीक ठाक भी प्रिपरेशन किया तो आराम से, बहुत ही स्कोरिंग सब्जेक्ट है, राइट? तो अगर आप आईएफएससी के एग्जाम के लिए फेज 1 के लिए तैयारी कर रहे हो, सो डू नॉट, आई वुड से, कॉम्प्रोमाइज विद मैनेजमेंट. अच्छे से करके जाओ ताकि अगर 10 क्वेश्चन भी आ रहे हैं, आप 10 में से 9 तो सही करके ही आओ, ठीक है? सो दैट शुड बी द टारगेट इन केस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट. नाउ क्वेश्चन नंबर 16 और द लास्ट क्वेश्चन फॉर मैनेजमेंट, द what does the acronym SMART stands for? So yes, if we talk about this SMART acronym, so we know that S stands for specific. तो अगर यहाँ से भी चुन लो तो ये दो तो हम eliminate कर सकते हैं, right? M is for measurable, right? A is for achievable. So इसको हम eliminate कर सकते हैं, and R is for realistic and T is for timely, right? So that is basically going to be the full form of management. That is sorry, not the full form of SMART, and D is going to be the correct answer to this question, right? Now let us move on to the next one. Okay, so economics and social development. So which of the following sustainable development goal strives to achieve gender equality? अब ये जो SDGs हैं ये आपको याद होने चाहिए, ठीक है? जो SDGs है ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. क्या पता है दोबारा रिपीट कर दे इस तरह के क्वेश्चन को, तो मेरा ये सजेशन देगा कि छोटा सा ही कंपोनेंट है, स्कोरिंग है, तो इसको पढ़ के जाना. सो विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सुटेबल sustainable development goals strive to achieve gender equality? SDG 5, 8, 12, 7 और 10, राइट? तो 5 की बात करें तो 5 हमें पता है कि जेंडर इक्वालिटी से रिलेटेड होता है, राइट? अगर मैं 8 की बात करूं, जहां तक मुझे याद आ रहा है, आई थिंक 8 इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ से रिलेटेड है, राइट? इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, तो 8 को तो हम इजीली एलिमिनेट कर सकते थे. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट 12 इज रिगार्डिंग, आई एम नॉट एबल टू रिकॉल 12, बट आई थिंक इफ आई टॉक अबाउट 7 क्लीन एनर्जी का है, ठीक है? ये क्लीन एनर्जी का एक बार पढ़ लेना इसे. एक SDG 10 भी है. सो इफ यू टॉक अबाउट SDG 10, इट इज अबाउट रिड्यूसिंग इनइक्वालिटी, राइट? सो आई वुड से the SDG 5, which is more specifically related to, I would say, gender equality. So B is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 18th, what are the core components that form the domains of population studies? अब ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी हो सकता है, चाहे आपने पॉपुलेशन चैप्टर पढ़ा भी हो, लेकिन अगर आप सही से क्वेश्चन को नहीं पढ़ रहे हो तो you will end up giving wrong answer. So let us read the option. Option A, birth, death and migration. Option B, health, education and gender ratio. Option C, fertility, mortality and population density. Option D, population growth, age structure and employment. And option E, population projections, urbanization and household size. Yes, so what is going to be the correct answer? Yes, so the correct answer is going to be basically the A option, right? So if you talk about the most important or the core domains with respect to population studies, so we know that it is birth, death and migration. क्यों ऐसा क्यों है? Basically birth basically indicates, what does the birth indicate? It indicates the increase in population. तो उससे हम population studies में population increase पढ़ सकते हैं, right? Then what does death increase? Death indicates, it indicates the decrease in the population, right? The decrease in the population. And if you talk about migration, migration basically causes population टू इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज इन स्पेसिफिक रीजन. तो ये जो बर्थ एंड डेथ तो नेचुरल कॉज हो गया, राइट? बट माइग्रेशन की वजह से भी पॉपुलेशन इंक्रीज हो रही है और डिक्रीज हो रही है. सो वो पॉपुलेशन स्टडीज के सबसे कोर कंपोनेंट्स माने जाएंगे इसलिए, एंड दैट इज व्हाई ए इज गोइंग टू बी द करेक्ट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन, राइट? सो आई होप इट इज क्लियर टू यू. आगे चलते हैं. नाउ क्वेश्चन 19th, which age group population is factored into the calculation of India's literacy rate? 5 years and above, 6 years and above, 7 years and above, 8 years and above, and 9 years and above. So yes, the correct answer is going to be C option, 7 years and above. तो ये factual सा question था, ठीक है? तो but the C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now let us move on to the next section, which is I would say general awareness. So, as per newspaper report published in January 2023, NASA's James Webb Telescope has discovered an exoplanet LHS 47b, which is almost the same size as Dash. So, matching the extent of 99% in diameter. तो इसका क्या आंसर होगा? तो बहुत ही फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन है, या तो आता है या तो नहीं आता है. द करेक्ट आंसर इज अर्थ, ठीक है? तो बी इसका करेक्ट आंसर था. नाउ इंडिया होल्ड G20 प्रेसिडेंसी. अब देख रहे हो, ठीक है? द पॉइंट इज दैट एक साइंस एंड टेक का क्वेश्चन आ गया. एक आपका जो इंपॉर्टेंट समिट्स हो रहे हैं, राइट? जैसे G20 समिट है, उससे रिलेटेड आ गया है. तो G20 ट्रॉइका के बारे में पूछा हुआ है. ये टर्म बहुत ही पॉपुलर थी, ये टर्म बहुत ही पॉपुलर थी उस साल, ठीक है? बहुत न्यूज में चल रहा था ये. तो ये अगर आपने करंट अफेयर पढ़े होते तो ज्यादा मतलब आपने आंसर कर ही दिया होता. तो अभी के लिए ये मत सोचो कि यार बहुत मुश्किल क्वेश्चन आ गया, ट्रॉइका क्या पूछ लिया, बट उस समय बहुत न्यूज में था. और अगर आप G20 पढ़ते हो तो इसके बारे में बात तब करते ही हो. यू इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट, राइट? सो लेट अस सी व्हाट इज द आंसर. सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 21. सो ब्राजील, जर्मनी, इंडोनेशिया and Italy, right? So which are the ones that are a part of the troika? तो अगर ट्रॉइका की बात करो, ट्रॉइका में ट्रॉय का मतलब होता है तीन, ठीक है? ट्राई वर्ड से आया है ट्रॉय. सो इसमें सबसे पहले आता है वो होता है इंडोनेशिया, ठीक है? जो सेकंड आए है इसमें इंडोनेशिया के बाद वो है इंडिया, एंड द थर्ड वन इज व्हाट? द थर्ड वन इज इटली. सो इंडिया, इंडोनेशियन, इटली, ये तीन ट्रॉइकाज हैं. एंड इफ यू सी द ऑप्शन, लेट मी सी कौन सा इसमें फिट होगा. Indonesia, Italy and India. So yes, 3 and I would say 4. Yes, so 3 and 4. So that is why I would say 3 and 4. Yes. तो इसमें आई थिंक ये ऑप्शन फ्रेम करने में गड़बड़ होगी है यहाँ पर. सो आई थिंक यहाँ पर इसको चेंज करना होगा किसी एक ऑप्शन को. सो आई थिंक ये 5 नहीं होगा, ये 4 होगा यहाँ पर, राइट? तो उस हिसाब से ई होगा. बट इंडोनेशिया, इंडिया और इटली है इसमें. सो ई इज गोइंग टू बी द करेक्ट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन. बट आई थिंक यहाँ पर ऑप्शन हमने गलत फ्रेम कर दिया है. 5 नहीं होगा, 4 आएगा यहाँ, ठीक है? सो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी द आंसर. Now let us move on to the next one. Question number 2022. The 13th installment of rupees 2000 under PM Kisan was credited to the bank account of the beneficiaries, which is not one of the categories of farmers that are ineligible to receive the benefits under PM Kisan scheme. तो I would say बहुत factual सा question है, इसके बारे में ज़्यादा डिस्कस करने को इतना फायदा नहीं है. But the point is that basically the correct answer to this question is going to be families with cultivable land of 10 hectares or more. So D इसका आंसर होगा, right? So that is going to be the answer to this question. Now moving on to the next one. What is the gross enrollment ratio in higher education targets under the National Education Policy of 2020? तो NEP से क्वेश्चन आ गया है और the answer to this question is going to be, I would say, the A option, 50% by 2035. Now moving on to the next one. Which of the following companies is not a foreign company? Coca-Cola, ITC, Samsung, Hindustan Unilever, or it is Nestle. So yes, the correct answer to this question is going to be the B option, which is ITC. ठीक है? तो ITC it is an Indian I would say it is an Indian company, and जो question है वो पूछ रहा है it is which of the following is not a foreign company. So that is why B is going to be the correct answer. Question number 25. David Malpass is the president of which of the following organization? IMF, World Bank, International Development, International Financial Corporation, or European Investment Bank. So yes, the answer is going to be the B1, which is basically World Bank. ठीक है. Now moving on to the next question. As per National Family Health Survey 5 states had a higher TFR than 2.1. Which of the following is not among them? तो ये क्वेश्चन क्यों पूछा था? उस समय ये TFR बहुत न्यूज में था. ठीक है, एक रिपोर्ट भी आई थी, तो बहुत न्यूज़पेपर में आया था, TFR बहुत डिस्कस हुआ था, तो उसी कंटेक्स्ट में उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया. सो कौन सा है जिसका TFR 2.1 से ज्यादा नहीं है? सो ए मेघालय, बी मध्य प्रदेश, सी उत्तर प्रदेश, डी बिहार एंड ई झारखंड. सो द करेक्ट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन is going to be, I would say, Madhya Pradesh, right? So B is going to be the correct answer. World's longest railway station, Hubballi, is in which railway zone, right? So central, northern, eastern, southwestern, or southeastern. So the correct answer to this question is going to be the D option. ठीक है, तो southwestern में आएगा ये, southwestern. And I would say, if you're wondering why it's southwestern, क्योंकि ये कर्नाटका, because of Karnataka, it will come in the southwestern zone. Now, according to SDG India Index, which is released by Niti Aayog, what is the criteria for the front runner category? 0 to 49, 50 to 64, 65 to 99, or 100, or none of the above. So regarding this, I would say the correct answer is going to be 65 to 99. C is going to be the correct answer. Then what is the name and the prize money given to KK Birla Foundation to noted हिंदी राइटर डॉक्टर ज्ञान चतुर्वेदी? ठीक है, तो इसका आंसर मुझे भी याद नहीं आ रहा क्या था. आई एम नॉट एबल टू रिकॉल. एक बार आप आंसर की देख लेना. वी विल शेयर द आंसर की, बट आई थिंक इसका आंसर व्यास सम्मान है, 4 लाख रुपीज. तो आई डोंट फाइंड एनी पॉइंट ऑफ डिस्कसिंग दीज थिंग्स, बिकॉज ये जीके क्वेश्चन बहुत ही फैक्चुअल होते हैं. ठीक है, या तो क्वेश्चन आंसर आता है या तो नहीं आता है. ठीक है, ज्यादातर ऐसे होता है. कहीं की जगह ये ऑप्शन एलिमिनेट कर सकते हो आप, बट आप देख सकते हो किस तरह के क्वेश्चन पूछे गए थे. एंड आई थिंक ए इज गोइंग टू बी द आंसर, बट एक बार प्लीज इसे वेरीफाई कर लेना. ठीक है, मुझे एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं आ रहा. देन क्वेश्चन नंबर 30. एज पर नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, अब देखो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में से 2 क्वेश्चन आ गए. ठीक है, 2020 टीचिंग अप टू एटलीस्ट ग्रेड 5 टू बी इन मदर टंग रीजनल लैंग्वेज. As per national education policy, a mother tongue will be the medium of instruction at least which class? So yes, the answer is going to be the 5th class, right? So A is going to be the answer to this question. Now moving on to the next one. World Economic Outlook predicts global slowdown in 2023 because of dash. So because of increase in interest rate by developed countries to counter inflation, because of slowdown, or war in Ukraine. So the context to which this question was asked, based on that, the correct answer is going to be the E option, right? तो अब लास्ट क्वेश्चन देख लेते हैं जीके का, उसके बाद कॉमर्स एंड अकाउंटेंसी देखेंगे. आई थिंक जीके में बहुत सारे फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन ही है, तो इसमें मुझे भी मजा नहीं आ रहा, टू बी ऑनेस्ट. सो व्हाट इज द मिनिमम अमाउंट ऑफ प्रीमियम टू बी पेड बाय ए मेंबर अंडर प्रधानमंत्री श्रम योगी मानधन योजना हु इज जॉइनिंग द स्कीम एट द एज ऑफ 29 years and when he was to pay the premium, right? So the correct answer to this question is going to be 60 years. ठीक है, so 60 years हो जाते हैं, तो I would say rupees 160 years. So एक ही है, अच्छा 2 हैं 60 वाले, but rupees 100 होता है यहाँ पर. So A is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now let us begin with the next section, which is commerce and accountancy, right? So question number 33. Which of the following financial statements can the financial position of an organization be determined? From which of the following statements can the financial position of an organization be determined? So we know that if we talk about determining the financial position of an organization at a specific point of time, it is going to be through balance sheet, right? Because through balance sheet we come to know the asset and liabilities of an organization, that is the money it owns, or you can say the asset it owns and the liability that it owes, right? So based on that, C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now under which accounting concept should an asset be valued at lower of net realizable value or fair value, right? So I hope you know the meaning of net realizable value. Basically it is what you can get by selling a certain type of asset, and fair value basically means the original cost or the market value of that asset, right? So it is saying that as per which accounting concept should an asset be valued lower of realizable value or fair value. So the answer is going to be the prudence concept, which is also known as the concept of what? The concept of conservatism, right? You must have heard about it. It is also known as concept of conservatism. And why do we do so? That why the asset should be valued at lower of net realizable value or fair value. Why the prudence concept says so? So that basically the assets are not overstated, right? So the assets are not overstated. In order to avoid that, we follow this prudence principle, and it basically helps us to show the realistic picture of the business, right, with the help of financial statements. So A is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now the next one, donation and legacy credited to which of the following accounts? So yes, of course, it is going to be what? It is going to be the capital fund, right? It is going to be capital fund, because if we talk about the donation and legacy, so these type of transactions are not treated as income, right? They are not treated as income, and they are added to capital fund, right? And apart from that, we also know that they are non-recurring in nature, right? So again, that is another reason that why they are added to capital fund. So B is going to be the correct answer. Now in the working capital turnover ratio, the relation of working capital is checked with which of the following variable? Profit, asset, liabilities, sales, or none of the above, right? So regarding question number 36, I would say, if we talk about working capital turnover ratio, so what is working capital turnover ratio? So it is the ratio of net sales and net working capital, right? We know that. So if we talk about the answer to this question, so the correct answer to this question is going to be the D1, right? So because it is in relation to the net sales, right? So D is going to be the correct answer. So if you know the formula, you could have answered this question very comfortably. Now question number 37, which of the following is the method to compute the working capital of an entity? तो आप देख सकते हो ये दो क्वेश्चन सीधा वर्किंग कैपिटल से रेशियो एनालिसिस से आ गए. रेशियो एनालिसिस से हर साल काफी क्वेश्चन आते हैं. तो कॉमर्स एंड अकाउंटेंसी में अगर आपको कोई चीज करनी है तो रेशियो एनालिसिस जरूर करके जाना, ठीक है? आप इससे चार से पांच क्वेश्चन भी एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो अगर आप पीवाईक्यूज को एनालाइज करोगे, ठीक है? तो ये तो दो ही बताए भी मैंने, आगे देखते हैं क्या पता और भी क्वेश्चंस होंगे, राइट? सो 2024 में भी अच्छे खासे क्वेश्चन आए थे रेशियो एनालिसिस से. तो ये ऐसा पोर्शन है जहां से कंसिस्टेंटली क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं. यू हैव टू डू दिस एरिया प्रॉपर्ली. सो विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज अ मेथड टू कंप्यूट द वर्किंग कैपिटल ऑफ एन एंटिटी? तो वर्किंग कैपिटल का फॉर्मूला हमें पता ही है, ठीक है? वर्किंग कैपिटल मींस द डिफरेंस ऑफ करंट एसेट्स एंड व्हाट? करंट लायबिलिटीज, राइट? तो उसके हिसाब से देखिए हम तो आराम से हम बता सकते हैं कि दैट द करेक्ट आंसर इज गोइंग टू बी द डी ऑप्शन, द एक्सेस ऑफ करंट लायबिलिटीज ओवर करंट एसेट्स, राइट? सो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी द करेक्ट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन. नाउ द नेक्स्ट वन इज which of the following measures the amount of profit a company makes per share? So net income, revenue, C expenses, D earnings per share, and E is what? E is dividend yield ratio. So if you read the question properly, it says which of the following measures the amount of profit a company can make per share. So ये नाम से पता चल रहा है या profit मतलब earnings. So earning per share is going to be the answer to this question, because if we talk about the formula of earning per share also, तो आपको पता होगा earning per share is equal to net profit after tax, right? So NPT मतलब net profit after tax minus the preference dividend that is there, divided by number of what? Number of equity shares. तो ये per share basis पे profit बताता है, right? So that is why D is going to be the correct answer to this question. Question number 39. Under which category of assets is inventory classified? Current asset, non-current asset, fictitious asset, intangible asset, or none of the above? तो यार ये बहुत ही easy question है, ठीक है? Question number 39. So it is classified as current assets. We already know that, right? Why it is classified as current asset? Because basically it is expected to be sold, used, or converted into cash within 1 year or within the normal operating cycle of the business, right? So that is why it is for current asset, because current asset में पता है कि मतलब लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए वो नहीं होते हैं, राइट? तो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी द आंसर विच इज करंट एसेट, विच इज फॉर द इन्वेंट्री. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग एसेट डज नॉट डेप्रिशिएट? प्लांट एंड मशीनरी, लैंड, पेटेंट, व्हीकल एंड फर्नीचर. तो इससे आसान तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता, ठीक है? ऑफ कोर्स इसका आंसर लैंड होगा, बिकॉज लैंड की वैल्यू डेप्रिशिएट नहीं होती, बल्कि मैं बोलूंगा टाइम के साथ लैंड की वैल्यू जो है क्या होती है? वो इंक्रीज होती है, इट गेट्स इंक्रीज्ड. सो बी इज गोइंग टू बी द करेक्ट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन. नाउ क्वेश्चन नंबर 41. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग मेथड्स फॉर कैलकुलेशन ऑफ इन्वेंट्री शुड बी यूज्ड इन केस देयर आर फ्लक्चुएशंस इन परचेज प्राइस? ए FIFO मेथड और FIFO मेथड, B LIFO मेथड, C weighted average method, D specific identification method, and A, all of the above. So it is saying the calculation of inventory should be used in case there are large fluctuations with respect to the purchase price, right? So what is going to be the answer with respect to question number 41? So yes, of course it is going to be the C answer, right? क्योंकि weighted average में हम क्या करते हैं, basically when the purchase price of the inventory, right, when the purchase price of the inventory, it keeps changing frequently, so what is the most suitable method? It is basically the weighted average, right? Because what it does basically, it smooths out the price fluctuation by doing what? By taking an average cost of all units that have been purchased. So that is why C is going to be the answer, because क्योंकि weighted average cost per unit का formula क्या होता है? If you want to calculate cost per unit using the weighted average, so what it is basically total cost of unit that is available for sale divided by what? The total number of units that are available for sale, right? So through that, what you can do, you can basically use this formula in case there are heavy fluctuations, right, with respect to the purchase price. So C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 42. Subsidy provided for working capital by the government is a part of what? Subsidy provided for working capital. Now again देखो तीसरा क्वेश्चन आ गया जो वर्किंग कैपिटल से रिलेटेड है, तो आप देख सकते हो वर्किंग कैपिटल का कंसेप्ट कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, राइट? यू नीड टू नो अबाउट टर्नओवर रेशियो आल्सो, राइट, हाउ इट इज कैलकुलेटेड, ऑल सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग्स यू नीड टू डू. So subsidies provided for working capital by the government is a part of capital received, B, aid, C, taxes, right, D, revenue received, or E is what? E is none of the above. So what is going to be the correct answer? Yes, the correct answer is going to be what? It is going to be basically the revenue received. Why it is taken as a part of revenue received? Basically it is meant to help the business with respect to what? In order to go for day-to-day operations, in order to run day-to-day operations, right? Day-to-day operations, and it is not for operating long-term expenses, it is for short-term expenses only. So that is why it is going to be revenue received, right? तो capital received तो हो ही नहीं सकता, वो तो long term के लिए होता है, right? So D is going to be the correct answer to this question. For example, the wages, the raw material, the operating cost, all such things basically are there with working capital. Now question number 43. In the domain of finance, which formula is used to calculate the operating leverage? तो यार देखो एक और क्वेश्चन सीधा आ गया रेशियोज एनालिसिस से. 3 क्वेश्चन हमने यहीं पे देख लिए, ठीक है? अगर 10 क्वेश्चन अकाउंट्स के आ रहे हैं तो 3 क्वेश्चन रेशियो एनालिसिस से पूछे जा रहे हो. 3 से 4 भी है, 4 से 5 भी हो सकते हैं. सो इस चैप्टर को बहुत अच्छे से करके जाना, और है भी इजी चैप्टर, को इतना मुश्किल नहीं है, फॉर्मुलाज ही है मोस्टली. तो अच्छा टाइम इन्वेस्ट करोगे तो एक अच्छा आउटपुट आप इससे निकाल सकते हो. So in the domain of finance, which formula is used to calculate operating leverage? ठीक है, तो हमें पता ही है, ठीक है? We know about operating leverage. Operating leverage, it is a ratio of what? It is a ratio of contribution and EBIT, right? It is a ratio of contribution EBIT, which means earning before interest and taxes, right? So इसमें से अगर हम देखें तो कौन सा ऑप्शन बन रहा है? ऑप्शन E, contribution upon EBIT. तो yes, A ऑप्शन होगा इसका. A is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 44, लास्ट क्वेश्चन है अकाउंट्स का. व्हाट इज द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट? सो ऑफ कोर्स क्या है? शेयर होल्डर की वेल्थ इंक्रीज करना. ये सबसे बड़ा जो मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव हो यही है, सबसे बड़ा प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्टिव है. सो यस, डी इज गोइंग टू बी द करेक्ट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन. दिस वाज एन इजी वन. अब कॉस्टिंग में चलते हैं, ये लास्ट सेक्शन है हमारी आज की. सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ कॉस्ट क्लासिफिकेशन, एडवर्टाइजिंग एक्सपेंडिचर कैन बी कैटेगराइज्ड एज व्हाट? कैन इट बी कैटेगराइज्ड एज selling overheads, B, fixed cost, C, administration overheads, D, factory overheads, and E, none of the above. So what is going to be the correct answer? Of course it is going to be what? It is going to be selling overhead. Now why selling overhead? Because it is a cost that is incurred to promote and sell the product, right? Because that is what the selling overhead basically signifies, right? And it is not related to basically production, it is not basically related to administration also. Instead what it does basically, this selling overhead basically it helps to increase the sales by attracting the customers, right? So that is going to be the A option for the question number 45th, which is selling overheads, right? Regarding advertising expenditure. Now question number 46. अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट इज व्हाट काइंड ऑफ कॉस्ट? ठीक है, तो अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट इसमें से किस तरह की कॉस्ट होती है? सो इफ यू टॉक अबाउट अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट, हमें पता है इट मींस द नेक्स्ट बेस्ट ऑल्टरनेटिव दैट इज देयर, राइट? सो व्हाट इट इज गोइंग टू बी? इंक्रीमेंटल कॉस्ट, संक कॉस्ट, एक्सप्लिसिट कॉस्ट, डी इम्प्लिसिट कॉस्ट, और ई is what? E is none of the above, right? So question number 46, basically what is going to be the answer? The answer is going to be what? It is going to be the implicit cost, right? So that is going to be the answer to this question. Because why, if you are wondering that why it is going to be a type of implicit cost, because basically it does not involve any kind of cash payment, किसी तरह की कैश पेमेंट नहीं होती, राइट? तो इसमें क्या होता है? इसमें बेसिकली होता है, बेसिकली यू कैन से सैक्रिफाइस और यू कैन से द फॉरगोन बेनिफिट दैट इज देयर, एंड दैट इज व्हाई बेसिकली इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ implicit cost, right? So I hope it is clear to you. Now question number 47, which of the following is the correct term for the interest cost associated with an organization's own fund? A, capitalized cost, B, explicit cost, C, implicit cost, D, notional cost, and E, none of the above. So the correct answer is going to be the D option, which is going to be basically, I would say, the notional cost, right? Because the interest cost that is associated within an organization fund, that is referred to as notional cost only, right? And I would say ये बहुत ही स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड था. तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 48 पे चलते हैं. The pricing structure of a rickshaw driver charging a fixed rate of ₹120. तो अगर हम यहाँ पे ध्यान से देखें एक बार, इन टर्म्स को लिख भी लेते हैं, तो फिक्स रेट है, या फिर हम कहें अगर फिक्स कॉस्ट की बात करें, फिक्स कॉस्ट इज व्हाट? It is basically ₹120, right? And an additional ₹15 per kilometer exemplifies what type of cost? तो of course ये हमारी fixed cost है, और ₹15 per kilometer है जो, वो cost हमारी क्या होगी? It is going to be what? It is going to be variable cost, right? Why is it so? Because it keeps on changing. It keeps on changing with distance, right? It keeps on changing with distance. तो अगर हम टोटल कॉस्ट निकालें तो टोटल कॉस्ट क्या होगी? टोटल कॉस्ट होगी 120 प्लस, ठीक है, विच इज नथिंग, 120 के हमारा फिक्स कॉस्ट है. सो 120 प्लस 15 इंटू नंबर ऑफ किलोमीटर्स, राइट? सो व्हाट इज इट? इज द एग्जांपल ऑफ व्हाट? इट इज द एग्जांपल ऑफ बेसिकली the semi variable cost, right? So the total cost is going to be the perfect example of what? It is going to be the semi variable cost, right? So what it is, if you are able to understand it carefully, so 120 is what? It is a fixed cost, and this 15 is what? It is the I would say basically the variable cost, right? And you are basically calculating the total cost using it, and through that basically we are calculating what? We are calculating the semi variable cost. Semi variable cost आपको पता होगा, it is basically nothing but it is also known as mixed cost, that has both what? The semi variable cost include both fixed as well as variable component, ठीक है? तो यहाँ पर आपको फिक्स भी मिल गया which is 120, and वेरिएबल 15 भी मिल गया. तो I would say बहुत easy question है. So that is why E is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 49th. Batch costing is a type of dash: job costing, process costing, marginal costing, or standard costing. So yes, ये तो बहुत easy question है. I would say batch costing is a type of job costing only. Now let us move on to, sorry, B पे लग गया tick. So job costing only, right? So let us see the last question, which is question number 50. When a product does not have any realizable value, then the cost of byproduct is what? It is treated as a gain. It is carried forward to the next accounting period. It is borne by good units. It does not affect anything, or none of the above. So in this case, what is going to be the answer? So basically, if we talk about this question first of all, so it is saying that basically the byproduct does not have any realizable value. What is realizable value? You can understand is nothing but the market value. So when the byproduct does not have market value, then what is going to happen? How the cost is going to get recovered? Of course, you cannot recover the cost by selling it because it does not have realizable value. So in this case, what is going to happen? The entire cost of production, is going to borne by the main product, which is nothing. Main product का मतलब क्या है? Good units. Right? So this means what? Basically this means that the joint costs are charged to the main product, and in this case what is going to be the answer? C is going to be the answer. It is going to borne by good units, right? So that is going to be the answer. So I hope it is pretty much clear to all of you. In case of any question, any confusion, any doubt, what you can do, you can write it in the comment box, right? And the PDF is going to be shared over the Telegram channel, so make sure that you have joined our Telegram channel, and through there you can access the PDF. So I hope the session was effective for you. So thank you so much and all the best. But before I end the session, let me tell you that how EduTap can help you as a part of your preparation. You just have to go to courses section, all courses, और यहाँ पर आप जाके देख सकते हैं different type of courses that we offer. So you can go to IFSCA courses if you are looking for this one, and you can see that basically we provide the phase 1 plus phase 2 record crash course, then phase 2 test series is there, phase 1 plus phase 2 test series is there, right? So these are different type of courses. For rest of the details you can go to a website, right? So thank you so much and all the best for your preparation.